My guest today is Ross Syner, an award winning British film writer and director whose emotionally charged storytelling and cinematic visual style have earned him recognition across the UK and the international film industry. Ross has currently qualified for both BAFTA and BIFA consideration with his latest short film, Brothers, starring BAFTA winning actor David Bradley. Now, Ross first gained international attention with his debut short film, Francois, a project that gained him accreditation to the prestigious Cannes Film Festival, giving him early exposure to the global film industry. Now, he followed this early success with Jack, a powerful drama that won the Royal Television Society Award for Best Short Film, cementing his reputation for creating deeply human stories with a striking cinematic edge. He is the founder of Mockingbird Company, or I should say, the founder of Mockingbird Film Company. So let's welcome writer, director Ross Syner and his powerful cinematic short film, Brothers, to the show. Welcome, Ross.
Hiya, how you doing?
Doing great. So, where'd this incredible story idea come from for Brothers?
Well, like a lot of things these days, it was lockdown. Me and my now wife, my partner at the time, were confined to the shells of our home, and we found this fascinating crime story, which Brothers isn't based on that in any way. It kind of gave us the ending of, oh, what would you do for a sibling? So we were like, we asked our friends, we asked our family, and the answers were so contrasting that we were like, oh, this is quite interesting. This is so. Let's build something off it. Let's build a story where it kind of ends with that question. The audience go away going, oh, what would you do? Oh, would you do that for me, Mum? Would you do that for me, brother? So that's where this it originated from. So yeah, within however long we were in lockdown for, it seems like an eternity. We sat down and just started spitballing all these ideas, and eventually the script developed into Brothers that it is today.
Well, this film is less than 10 minutes long, but it contains decisions of right and wrong, love, sacrifice, responsibility, protecting family, and even changing the course of the future. But the balance is absolutely seamless in your film. How did you achieve that balance?
So yeah, that obviously came out in the script writing process as well. We wanted to make a scenario that was urgent enough that it could go from start to finish in a short amount of time. We didn't want to create something where still 20 minutes in, we're trying to we're good with, still trying to get through it. So we had to create that sense of urgency, but then we also had to try and create enough emotional levels within the family for people to actually care about what was going on. And then we wanted to just put some twists in there for fun, essentially. So it's everybody is taking the rap for everybody else in there again, which leans us into the kind of family that they are. So from an outsider's point of view, you've got like this rough shell of a family, but inside, actually, their morals and their love for one and each other, their bond is very, very, very tight. So we found it important that we had to create all these multi layers and this kind of journey and structure it well for the short to actually have any meaning and any emotional pull, if you know what I mean. So for that ending to have as much weight as I hope it does, I think we had to kind of give the audience those building blocks to begin with.
You did because when I watched the film, and of course, there's that scene towards the end, and all of a sudden the audience is like, because then you're like, oh my gosh. But the story is really not complicated, but you paced it so well not to give anything away. You take the audience into each scene, one step at a time, which really builds up that climactic ending.
Yeah, I think it was important to, like you say, it's a simple story as it is. It's some, a family member's knocked on the door uh-oh, I've done something. And then the rest of the time to go, okay, now what? What do we do? So that's where decided that we wanted to create this kind of like, that's why we want the cinematography to be so simple. We just wanted people to observe what is going on, essentially. It's a simple story. Let's not sugarcoat it. Let's not do any fancy camera movements. Let's just place the audience in that scenario. Even that's why we even filmed it in 4:3, just to keep it even simple, confine it. We confine the screen, confine it, make it feel tight, claustrophobic. Um, yeah, and just carry it naturally. Everything needed to pace well. Like, no one comes and gives you some bad news, and you don't recoil in horror, do you? Naturally, it's not theatrical. It's we all sat there and paced it well. We spoke about, okay, if someone just delivered you this news, how do you react? You're silent, you absorb it for a moment. It's not, quick fire talks. It's the awkward silence. So yeah, it was just let it, because it was so simple, just let it play out naturally.
Yeah, and it completely worked. And I noticed that the thing about in this film, and especially about sacrifice, in a way, it's kind of based on age because one who still has a life ahead of them, and then one whose life is at the end. So laying down your life for someone else can be a moral dilemma, correct?
Correct. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a moral dilemma versus lawful dilemma. What do you do? What's morally right isn't always lawfully right. So that's the question. And like you say, the actual David taking the rap. There's that whole backstory of he's promised his past wife. He's going to do the right thing by them. He's got nothing to lose essentially at the end now. So he's kind of give them another chance. I'm gonna take the moral high ground, do the morally right thing here, and look after the boys.
Well, yeah, because because the thing about this film is it allows the audience to think about what if after the film is over. It's almost like the audience is still continuing to write the story after the ending. Did you plan on that?
Yes, that was the idea. We wanted to, well, yeah, we wanted the audience to go away and kind of start a debate with their friends and family. It's what would you do? But importantly, look at yourself. What would I do? If my brother or someone came to the door now and said, "I've done something," what would you do? And like I say, everybody's different. Every family is different. Every individual is different. So it's been it's been wild to see the different responses to it.
Well, were a lot of the what were most of the conversations about when people saw this film? Because was it based on their own idea on how old they were, or were the answers or questions different based on the age of the person who had seen the film?
Um, I, do you know what? I haven't recognized any pattern to any kind of demographic at all. I haven't kind of made a log or anything like that. You do get made a lot of men. Oh yeah, no, I'd do this for you. I'd do that, but you get surprised, like the younger people saying, no, I wouldn't let you go to prison, and then I've got other people saying, oh, if my sister had to go to prison, they'd be done for. So no, and then some people are like, no, you've done it. You're off, mate. So it's no. There's been no pattern. No pattern.
Oh, okay. Well, I was kind of wondering about that because it's films like this. I love films when they end this way. It continues to cause the audience to talk. But I want to ask you about the framing of the interior shots because you mentioned just a minute ago about filming in 4:3. I noticed that with the framing of the interior shots, they were very focused, and in a way, it's basically a straight line, not counting the outdoor shot, but you have the hallway, you have the front
Yeah.
door, and the door to the kitchen. Was this done on purpose, or was it just due to the fact that you found this setting?
This the first time someone's asked this. I'm so glad you have, because me and Lou Murrell, the director of photography, So, first of all, a little bit of trivia. That kitchen is actually my kitchen. Um, so me and Leanne, who I wrote it with, my now wife, we brought a doer up a house, an old Victorian house. And as soon as we got in, I was like, sorry, we can't renovate the kitchen. I need this. I need this for brothers. This is the kitchen. So I brought in Lou, the DP, and we said we had to go and buy a table and put it in that exact position because, like you say, it's a one big straight line. From the front door, you can see the kitchen. From the table, you can see the hallway where David goes. And then also from the kitchen door, we can see the other end of the kitchen where David goes to put the sugar. So everything is measured in distance, essentially. So when there's the awkward conversation. They're wrapped around this small table. The two boys are on the one side against David. That was done on purpose, like they're hiding something from David. David's isolated on his own. Um, and again, when he gets up to go and make the phone call, I feel like I'm trying to hide spoilers here, but I'm assuming if people are listening to this, they've probably watched it. So when he goes down the hall to make the phone call, obviously he's naturally got to distance himself away from the boys, but he's still in frame. He's getting more and more isolated. Um, and then when he comes back after the phone call and makes another cup of tea, again, we wanted to push him away from the boys to kind of, he's dealing with what he's just done on the phone, so he's kind of isolated again. Um, so apologies if that's a long-winded answer, but I was just so happy somebody's noticed that.
Well, when I noticed it, I got to thinking, because when it comes to a moral decision, and a moral decision must be made, the road is narrow, and that's why I saw the location of the major story being this narrow straight line. So I looked at it as being a metaphor that when you make a decision like this, it's you can't take the wide road.
Do you know what? I'll take that and I'll use that as my own. In the that's brilliant. No, I honestly never thought of it like that. But that's lovely. Yeah, that's great.
Well, there is a shot of David Bradley in the center of the shot at the kitchen table. And like you said, with each of his grandsons on each side in the foreground. At first, because you're looking at it from the camera shot, looking at David, and you just see the outlines of both grandsons on each side. So at first, I was looking at it as right versus wrong, but it was really that two wrongs don't make a right. And then I thought the way that the film ended, and I'm like, well, then maybe three wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah. So the reason they're like that, this is how I was seeing it anyway, is the boys were hiding a secret from David's character the whole time. So the boys are kind of separated from David, and that's why I wanted to shoot David between the boys because they're almost like closing in on him in a way, like they're kind of in something together while he's just there in the background. But yeah, you're right. At the same time, as three wrongs definitely don't make a right. That's kind of why we've ended the film with a dilemma. It's because it's not right, is it? It's ended, but who's to say it's the right ending? Uh,
Well, yeah, but it made it for it was a very powerful ending, because when I saw it, I was like, oh, because what made this film so profound was not only was it really a simple story, but the way that you told it, the audience didn't see that ending coming.
yeah, that's. I'm glad it's panned out that way because honestly, that was the intention. Obviously, I wanted it to feel like, all right, well, James Eales' character is going to take the rap. Um, but no, from day one when we got David on board, he was like, I did not see that ending coming whatsoever, even from the script, which is great. So that was the that was the mission then. All right, we've got it on script, we've got it on paper. Now we need to keep that how do we keep that a secret on screen when you can visualize everything now, where you can see everything? Um, so it was a challenge, and I'm grateful. The likes of yourself didn't see it coming, and it seems to be the general response at the minute. So I'm chuffed to bits.
So in in the house setting, did you use natural light for that? Because I'm sure you probably went through a colorization process because the film has a cool tone to it, but did you mostly use natural light?
No, so again, me and Lou had the opportunity, being my house, we had the rare opportunity to take as much time as we wanted to sit in there without having to pay any fees or anything like that. So we were looking at the light, and the natural light does come through that window for a certain portion of the day, but obviously soon wraps around the building. So we were like, we wanted to make it look as natural as possible. So Lou just basically shone got a big light through there, uh, diffused it. We put some nets up and just kind of let it do one big light. I think he chucked in a hair light now and then, but we wanted to be able to just chuck the camera around at any point and the lighting is done essentially. So all we wanted to do was emulate that natural light. But obviously it was a bit warmer. The kitchen is like a really horrible smoke stained everything's wallpapered in Victorian houses. Um, so yeah, we properly crushed it, darkened the color grade, and sapped out any warmth because it's not a warm story, is it? So I wanted it to be dark. I wanted it to be cold. Yeah, I wanted it to feel uncomfortable. So you've got the bleak British greyness coming through the window to create a bleak British grey kitchen, essentially.
Well, it worked, and I
Yeah.
don't I don't want to give too much away here, but it's on the movie poster. But the red cap was the perfect object to pass along, well, truth and sacrifice. It kind of reminded me in Forrest Gump where they use the feather to kind of float around, but in a way, in this film, it's the passing of the red cap. It kind of reminded me of what Jesus did, dying for us, taking our place. So the cap was a very powerful metaphor in the film.
Yeah, again, I'm glad you've noticed this. That's brilliant. Yeah, again, we specifically wanted it red. Red, it's kind of the color of blame, guilt, anger, anything like that. So, yeah, that was it gets passed around from people. It's a character itself, basically. So obviously James's character comes in, pops it on the table. David clocks it straight away. That is the first early Easter egg that David suspected something. But yeah, obviously, and then we'd go to the flashback. Obviously, I'm putting out spoilers here on. I don't know how much I should say, but yes, you're right. That is the red hat of blame, of guilt.
Well, and the thing is the way that you used it, it's almost like a sleight of hand or a magic trick to the audience. It's there, but everybody's focused on the situation. They're not focusing on the red cap. And it only comes to play towards the end.
Yeah, it has no value. Obviously, some people might say, "Oh, they've made a meal of that. They've done a close up of him taking that hat off." So obviously, that might indicate something. But at the start, it has no value whatsoever. Like you say, it's only till a certain part in the film where they make a deal about the hat, that it becomes something, and then all of a sudden it clicks, doesn't it? And then obviously with what David does at the end, it all comes around.
Well, how did you come to cast David Bradley as the lead?
Well, again, when me and Leanne were writing the script, uh, just visualize David the whole way. I'm not going to do an impression, but we did our worst David impressions when we were reading the script out loud. Um, it could only be him. I think even at one point I said, if David does isn't interested, I'm not doing it. I can only see David. So to my delight, I got in contact with his agents who were so warm and welcoming, and he was in Canada. I believe I could be wrong. I believe he was filming Frankenstein, which has now just come out because he's got an amazing part in that. They were said so he's in Canada, but be 6 months. I was like, I'm not rushing for anything. If it's going to be on his desk for a read, I'll do it. And then next thing I know, I got an email. He absolutely loves it, loves the writing, loves the story. He's in. It was as simple as that. So yeah, it was from day one. It was David, and I was just blessed enough that he saw what he saw in the script, and no quarrels about it. There he was, straight on.
Well, so how did you cast James Eels and Jack Christow?
Again, I'm lucky enough to know them. James Eels, I've known since college. I've done a few projects. My last short, Jack, which my business partner Ben wrote, the Royal Television Society one. Jack played Jack, and he was phenomenal. Brought home a few Best Actor awards from that, rightly so. Um, so I reached out to them before I even reached out to David, and I said, "Boys, trust your opinion. I want you guys on this. What do you think?" Both of them said yes straight away. Um, Again, couldn't believe the twists and turns in it. Really loved it, and I said, "Great, I'm going for David," and they were like, "Okay, good luck." Um, I said, "I'll let you know," and then get that they hung on while they waited for me to wait. So it was just meant to be, and I'm so lucky to be able to shove those three in front of a camera and pretend I had to direct them because they did a fabulous job.
So how long did it take you to film the short?
Uh, 2 days, 2 days. Yeah, we had day one was the kitchen, day two was the hallway and the car scene. So it was to the wire on the last day. Um, Not through anything going wrong or anything. We were just I think everyone was just so kind of like relaxed, and it was fun. We're just having a great time, and oh, let's try this, let's try that, and maybe we accidentally had an extra half an hour at lunch and things because we were all just having a great time. But no, it was great. Yeah, first day straight in the kitchen. We just had a little rehearsal. We wanted to kind of figure out the pacing and the dynamic ramps of it all because it's quite an emotional roller coaster of a scene, and it came to say, like, when we do these dramatic pauses between conversations, just leave it even a beat more just to make it feel awkward. If it feels awkward for you, it'll feel awkward for the audience, which is what I want it to do. Um, but no, yeah, 2 days in and out, and we were all in the pub after the second day. It was great.
I love it. I love it. You know, a lot of people need to realize when it comes to films like this, it's not necessarily the dialogue, it's the pacing, it's the spacing between lines because you have to have the impact. And it's not always the words, sometimes it's the silence that creates the uneasy feeling or what's going to happen next. And you have absolute perfection throughout this film. Now, Anthony Ford created a wonderful music score. Tell me about that collaboration.
He did. He is a wonderful, wonderful human, wonderful musician. I'd worked with him recently on West Flies the Raven, a Viking inspired proof of concept we were making. In fact, the executive producer of Brothers, he wrote that. He's a fabulous writer, Ed Holstead. And we brought him on, Anthony, and just his demo piece, just his I want to do this job, listen to what I've done. I was like, that yes, immediately. So straight away, I said, dude, I need you on Brothers. I just want something simple, uh, but I want you to go with it, feel the vibe, come up with whatever you want. I was a bit, I didn't give him a lot of time. We filmed it first, and then I was like, well, I want to enter a certain few festivals, so I need you to, can you write a whole score in a month? And he was like, okay, yes, and he did. Incredible. So yeah, the process there was really enjoyable. It was we just spoke about it, and we spoke about the silences, the bits in the middle. When does it need music? When doesn't it need music? When do we leave it to the actors to play out in their awkwardness? When do we ramp things up? So again, it was just a few passes, and he came up with certain melodies, and the only back and forth thing we really did was let's try something in this moment. Okay, no, let's take it away. Let's try it in there. And again, I just felt so safe in his capabilities as a composer because I actually think, without sounding what we call cheesy over here, um, I even shed a little tear when I first heard the final, the mix, the score at the end as it ramps up. It really got me. So, yeah, again, blessed to have another incredible creative on my team for this. Really humbled by it all.
Well, it's when you hear the music score along with what you have filmed, it really makes the whole project real, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the glue, isn't it? It really is glue. I love. If that's one of the kind of how I get inspiration for things. I'll listen to music because music is one of the most important emotional moments in a film, isn't it? You can have a fantastic performance, and yes, that can bring tears to somebody's eyes, but I guarantee you put the right little motif or right little, undertone in there, it's just gonna heighten everything. So yeah, it's music. Music's the one.
Well, now that you're at the end of your film festival run, overall, what's been the reactions from the audiences?
Ah, it's been absolutely fantastic. Do you know what? We took a break on the film festivals because we were hoping to get to kind of like a BAFTA qualified level. So we did uh, straight away within the first couple of festivals. So we kind of like, because as I'm sure most filmmakers know, it's not a cheap process doing a big festival run. But the reaction's been phenomenal. It's been better than I could imagine. Um, like it's taken me back now and then, and I even got invited by Aesthetica Film Festival in York to go do a masterclass talk alongside some other fantastic filmmakers. So we have now just decided to chuck it in a few more just to see what happens again. um, but no, like I say, it's BAFTA qualified now, um, which is fantastic. I've not been in this position before as a filmmaker. Obviously, strive to be, but this one seems to have taken off pretty instantly, which I'm over the moon about. I've had some fantastic comments from. I've reached out to certain British actors who are, household names and things. Had some lovely comments back from, some people I admire from all areas of the industry. So no, I'm over the moon from the reaction I'm getting.
So now that it's BAFTA qualified, because I know how the Oscars work, because the Oscars go qualified to shortlist to nomination. What's the next step for BAFTA?
Yeah, I believe it's pretty much the same. I could be wrong. Well, last time I looked, which is nearly every day, it's it's so you're qualified, and then there's a long list, and then it's nomination. So you find out early January if you've made it onto the long list, and then end of January, start of Feb, if you go into the BAFTAs. I believe. Um, so it might be a stressful start to the year, or it might be the nicest start to the year. Who knows? Who knows?
Well, I'm surprised this film hasn't been Oscar qualified, or did you chase that?
Uh, yeah. So we got into Holly Shorts. That is the only Oscar qualifying festival we entered. I believe it got selected, which was fantastic. That was my first festival. Uh, oh no, it wasn't. There was a local one, Forward Film and Television. That was my first big festival. Was Holly Shorts, and it got in, which was incredible. And then Flickers Rhode Island, but that's BAFTA. However, I have entered it now into another Oscar qualifying. But I believe you have to win at the Oscar qualifying festivals to get Oscar qualified. Um, so we didn't win at Holly Shorts, but what are you going to do? It's all right. There's just the competition is fierce. There's so much talent out there now. It's unreal. But so yeah, that's one of the reasons why we have kind of picked up the festival run again to see if we can make a dent in any of the. It'll be for 2027 now. I think the 2026 boat sailed. Um, so yeah, we're chucking at a few more. You got to be in it to win it and all that, haven't you? So they say.
Yeah, that it's very, very true. And but yeah, this film it fits to be long listed or even short listed because this film is that good. It's that focused. Absolutely incredible from beginning to end. And boy, this is the film to watch. And I can't believe it took me this long to finally see it.
No, no, it's I'm glad you have. I'm glad you have followed your channel and your interviews for quite a while. So I'm a little bit of a fanboy to be here, if I'm honest.
Well, I appreciate that, Ross. But the great thing is I get to watch amazing films like Brothers, and and you know, it's like what you said. This year alone is probably the tightest competition I have ever seen in the areas of short films. I thought last year was tight. This year is off the charts when it comes to competition amongst short films. There are more short films this year than last year. I think the number has almost doubled on the amount of short films that are produced per year because everybody's jumping in on it now.
Yeah, yeah, it's a great form, do you know, because the industry at the minute, well, over here especially, I'm not sure about in the States, but it's pretty bleak over here at the minute. There's not a lot of investment going around for features for a low level, if you know what I mean. Yeah, people are kind of still investing in sure things and that, but you know, it's not so easy. So I think for filmmakers to be able to really sink their teeth into a good short, one, it's a good way to build your own skills, but it's a good way to get yourself out there at the minute, you know. So more, like you say, more short films are being consumed. People now consume short films. Um, like on a commercial basis. So I think it is kind of a market which most filmmakers aren't, like you say, well, they're obviously tapping into if it's doubled, and rightly so. It's a great way, like I say, to test your skills and to get your name out there if you can create something good. And it's not that easy to create a well-rounded short film. That's why I kind of wanted this approach with Brothers, because usually I'll make a short film with an aim to be a proof of concept to go into a feature. Whereas this time around, I was like, no, because normally I'm trying to focus on making something big and cinematic and impressive. So if an investor clicks on it, they're like, oh, look at this, amazing. Whereas this time around, it's like, no, I want to test my abilities. I want to just make a well-rounded short film for no other reason than to be a good short film. So
Well,
yeah, short
you've
films are.
accomplished that.
Thank you. No,
So
appreciate that. Really.
what is your idea about this whole thing about verticals now?
Yeah, I mean, they're essential, aren't they? Because everybody just consumes media like this. Um, it destroys my soul when I have to create a music video or something like that, and the record label or the artist. And I get it, I do get it. I'm not throwing shade on anybody. I totally get it. It's how it is consumed. But when I want to frame my shot in a certain way, but I can't because it's not going to fit on a phone. It's a bit soul destroying. But I get it. You've got to do it. So yeah, I assume that's what you meant by vertical. Sorry.
Well, yeah, yeah, because I mean, I'm not a fan yet, and and I'm like you, I you know I get it. It's a new media. They're already claiming that it's a multi-billion dollar industry, and I'm like, I'm thinking that you're overvaluing it at the moment, but we'll see what happens with it. But I'm sticking with short films, some features. I'm like it's going to be 4:3 or 16:9 or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, 2 for 1. Basically, if I have to watch something on my phone, I want to go like that to watch it. That's where I'm at still. Yeah, but like you say, I get it. It's how it's consumed by the masses, isn't it? So for promotional purposes, you've kind of got to, yeah, go with
I
it,
get it.
unfortunately. Yeah.
I get it. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, if you have the opportunity to see Brothers here in the near future, you better be sitting in the theater to see this film because it is worth every single second of that 10 minutes. This is the film to see. It will leave a lasting impression. And Ross Syner's Brothers, it's simply about a family's bond and morals which are tested by a life-changing situation. Every day we make decisions of choosing between right and wrong, but would you be willing to lay down your life for the ones you love? Would you sacrifice your future for someone else? Well, Brothers brings up so many questions that we should be asking ourselves. Morality, the distinction between right and wrong, or good or bad behavior. Cinematically, this film is spot on beautiful. The lighting, the coloring, the simple camera work makes this film focused on the story and its incredible cast. Actors David Bradley, James Eels, and Jack Cristal, well, bring realistic emotional depth to their characters, and they make us live within the dilemma that they are all facing. Now, the music score by Anthony Ford is beautiful, and it leaves us with the feeling of living with the mistake of one person and the sacrifice of another. This is an award winning film, and it should be nominated for both the BAFTA and the BIFA. So it has all the elements, and I will just leave it at that. And Ross, I want to thank you so much for reaching out to me as I've been waiting to see this incredible film for a very long time, and it did not disappoint.
Yeah, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're very, very welcome. And ladies and gentlemen, you can catch all of the Bond on Cinema interviews at bondoncinema.com. Check out our Prime Show, our YouTube channel, and yes, you can listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Audible, and more. And remember, you'll either see me at the movies or from the red carpet.